So if it's easier to use, it's more simplified to train, faster to use, and it's the same functionality as another product, why wouldn't we be an advocate for it?
Well, welcome.
Thank
Joe.
you.
Thank you for joining us here. Tell us about your company.
Traction Consulting Group. We've been around since 1999.
Oh, our oldest one today.
All right. We like to say we help sales teams sell more and operation teams be more efficient. So what does that mean? Just a lot of, we like to bring a lot of best practice process to the equation. So we do a lot of, a lot of our work that we're doing is probably upfront analysis work. I always like to tell people that, again, there's a lot of times when we can just take a look at a process and we don't necessarily have to change software, right? So there's times when you can actually analyze at the top and look across what you're already using and make people successful. And then other times you have to bring in something new and modern, like an Odoo or other type of application. And so we started with CRM. That was pretty much our bread and butter for the longest time. And then around 2018, we were looking to add ERP. And then we were, evaluating all the different options, and Odoo kind of rose to the top, and we signed up to be an Odoo partner.
And what year was that?
That would have been 2018.
Oh, okay.
So relatively recent.
And how has Traction grown? How many people are on your team, and how has it grown since the 90s to 2018 and forward?
So we were a Lotus Note shop, come to believe it or not, which is an old school type of IBM system. And then IBM bought that and killed it. So that was actually our 99 through 2010. So it's right, again, our journey through new tools and new tool sets was probably in and around 2010. So we've been pretty steady employment-wise through that whole process. We are more of a boutique shop. So what does that mean? It just means that, because we're doing a lot of specialty consulting, I like to say, I don't build companies to scale. I build companies to help companies. That's what I'm doing. So, we have 10 people in the Detroit office. We have a few in UK. We have a few in India. And then we're, have some partnerships in Canada and those types of things. So we have a smattering of resources that we have available to us that we leverage. But a lot of our clients do have specialty requirements, especially here in America. So they might be ITAR, they might be SOX compliance, they might have issues with leveraging, say, overseas talent. And that's kind of where we shine maybe a little bit more, in that we actually have the onshore consultants to actually facilitate those higher level conversations. Yeah.
And out of those 10, how do they kind of divide? What builds the team?
Yeah. So everybody's really a functional consultant, right? So I hate to say it like that, but we are kind of like a law firm. We're kind of doing everything. You're listening to the client, you're interacting with them, calling on them, and then helping define a business solution case out of a set of business problems. And that's all the abstract analytic type stuff. Then you're maybe diving down into a functional spec requirement. So you got a little sales kind of going on with you. You'll work through that client through that to get the specs right, to make sure that you're on track. They'll sell it. And then from that perspective, they may be doing some of the work themselves, or they may be, having other resources that they get involved at that point. So because they're kind of jack of all trades, the value we feel it offers the client is that you're actually talking to the person who can do the work.
Yeah.
You're never talking to somebody who's telling you this can happen, and then he's got to go clear it with a developer. And you also don't have to wait. You have the speed of the engagement, I guess, is always important to me, that if we're talking, your time is so much valuable that I can't tell you, well, let me get a resource. Let me go ask a tech guy. So it's in that consultancy kind of type of idea framework that I feel that we're just different. And that's what I like to do. I've always wanted to be a consultant my whole life. I did that, not for myself, through other companies. And then when I had the opportunity to start my own company, I did that.
And so with 10 people who are fully cross-functional, you don't specialize in any industries. You take clients from all different verticals.
That's correct. Yep. I mean, we certainly have clients across the gamut. We can see, certainly we're Midwest, right? So we're going to have small manufacturing come find us, specialty manufacturing find us, tool shop manufacturing find us. So that's kind of the Midwest, bread and butter, I guess, these days. But there's also other newer companies that are finding us. I'm calling them now like the fictitious company. What does it mean? It means that there are companies launching now where they're sourcing product from China. They're shipping that to actually a third-party assembler to assemble it. That then gets shipped to a third-party warehouse to process and track and deliver orders. And then they have a web cart across the whole thing. and they have all these disparate systems, all these different things. They all have to come together into something that works for them. We like Odoo, but we're happy to integrate all those different points together so that the customer can leverage Odoo for what it's great for, which is the central cockpit. They can view inventory, orders, and status across all those assets.
Wow.
And then the integration piece, the automation, is data flows up and data flows down seamlessly to them.
Wow. So when coming at a project like that or any of your other major projects, what is your implementation methodology?
Like everybody else, we have a quick start. We have a process for sure.
Yeah.
So it certainly starts with an analysis phase. We're going to whiteboard a lot of stuff out. We want to understand literally the current state of the process, because a lot of times it works great, but maybe there could be some improvements based upon our industry knowledge or experience, even in a non-industry. I always find it funny that it's great that we can bring experience outside of your direct industry on how somebody else solved a similar problem. And no, maybe you're not going to copy that, but you might actually learn something from that and streamline your own process.
Do you find that people with industry experience and business experience are the best ones to become fully functional in Odoo and then share that with clients?
Yes and yeah. I mean, I think that, again, having that general knowledge of the technical aspects of all the different packages that we're either repping with, or again, learning that when our customers bring it. Sometimes our customers bring us a package that we wouldn't even know about, and we just have to kind of on the fly, well, what is it? And again, it's applying that experience of, well, nope, we don't have direct experience with that application, but that works exactly like this application. So it's really more of a methodology practice behind it that we like to bring to the table, and then trying to apply it across all these different tech stacks, because there's so many of them. There's just so many, and every single company has a different set. And it would be great if they could all consolidate down into Odoo, but the reality is a lot of our customers want to integrate and use just Odoo, but for now, they have these 3 to 5 other spots and they can't. And it's more of a roadmap type thing. So we provide that roadmap for them, so where they can continually leverage what they need to leverage today, give them that opportunity to centralize it all down into Odoo in the future without getting bogged down into, well, when's the cutover, and can we stand that organizational change? Because that's a big issue for companies of transforming from one ERP to another. It is not easy, and every single CEO through that whole C-suite is going to be not regretting it, but certainly taking it through a lens of, here we go again, because they've already been through it. So making sure that you give them more of a process-based approach to it, I feel, is very, very important, and I think we could do that.
And are companies like these and the companies that you work with small to medium-sized businesses? Are you in the mid-market corporate space? What are you kind of finding?
I always, our sweet spot is probably $25 to $100 million worth of revenue for some type of a company. Why is that? A lot of times they don't have a solid IT team.
Okay.
And if they do, they're blocking and tackling. They're not analytics. They're not, business consultants. They're not understanding process. They're busy with tickets. They don't have that solid resource. So they're looking for a consultant to come in and do that type of work. When we get to the above that, which we do have some, it's almost as if like there's a central IT and it's a behemoth, and everything has to go through them. Well, these individual divisions and these individual, subsidiaries, they have their own budget. They'll just find us separately, and we'll work separately with them on their problems, probably to bypass IT because of the bottleneck that's happening in a lot of those larger organizations. So we do have some billion-dollar companies that we work with. Our effort-wise in there is probably the same level of effort in our $25 to $100 million space. Wow. So, but again, it's just the idea that we can do integration, we can do analytics. We're very creative with solutions, and even if you already have a set of applications you have to stick to, we always seem to have an answer of how we can leverage that.
Wow. And when sourcing these clients, do you have a sales team, or do they come to you based on this specialized ability that you have?
Part of it, there's no one thing, right? We've been around since '99, so there's just some people know about us, especially in the Detroit area and so on. Although now, even since COVID, we're getting more and more just, I guess, SEO and just web, and people are just finding us. So just being partners, right? So we're an Odoo partner, so that helps, and people can find us and so on. A lot of referrals. So, again, word of mouth. Our existing customers are always talking about, fortunately, that we're good. And because of that, we're getting new clients come in that way. We have outreach. I mean, we do marketing just like everybody else. Not great marketing because I do it, but we do marketing. So again, it's a mix. It really is a mix. I mean, sometimes we'll do an event like this, and I shook 15 hands, and maybe I'll talk to one after this. I don't know, maybe not. And sometimes that's just the seed, and maybe one of these people will call me 1 year later or something. So I don't really find, I find sales being all about diligence. That's it. That's my job, is just to be diligent and available. And as long as I am telling them what's going to happen next, and I live up to my word, and they can see that, they understand that I am a man of my word. And because of that, I close more deals 3 years later than I know of anybody else. Because I don't look at a proposal as a loss at a point in time. Absolutely, people can stall down. I mean, ERP change, especially if you're going from one ERP to another, is a very, very scary proposition for a lot of customers. And because of that, they might need to actually heal through that process of understanding that they do need it. And it might take time. Sometimes it takes a year, sometimes it takes 3. The one I've been working on a lot lately, we're in year number 5. It was all pre-COVID. And it's the same conversations. We're having the same conversations. We're having the same demos. But they need to feel comfortable. It's not my job to push software on them. My job is to be available for when they feel like they're ready, and to make sure that I'm in the pole position to do that. So that's kind of what I do from a sales standpoint on that.
And it's a great benefit of being a partner.
Yeah.
We aren't able to do that internally. And it's a very interesting, the trust, the relationship over 5 years especially, and continuing to work with people. How have you found the partner ecosystem?
Yeah, it's great. It's great. I mean, I think that, again, I work with Giselle. I think she's out of the West Coast office, and she's great. We have regular communications, and again, it's like every other partnership, right? It's give and take. We're a challenge maybe for some of Odoo, because we don't just do Odoo, right? So, again, because we're maybe a little bit bigger, we do a lot of integration, right? So there's just a specialty time when you need traction from Odoo partnership standpoint, and Giselle's very good at bringing us in for those. So we appreciate that. That's great. When we have issues and so on, I mean, having somebody who is a partner rep just as concerned for my client, as Odoo should be. But, again, if you put a ticket in, it's just a ticket with a name on it. There's no intensity around it. So having somebody in Odoo as a champion, so to speak, when we have real issues that we want to resolve quickly for our clients, we have that. And that's another great resource from that perspective too.
Great. And looking forward for traction and for your relationship with Odoo, is there anything you are looking forward to in the new year or coming up for traction?
I think that, again, when I look at the maturity of where Odoo is going, it's nice to see that it seems like it's foundational now, which is great. So, again, in the earlier years, we were changing a lot, Odoo was changing a lot of things, and it just made maybe upgrades, just that much more work, right? Yeah. Wasn't necessarily painful, wasn't that hard, it was work, and again, that translates to fees for the client. So the fact that, we're at almost like this core kind of steady base to where now we're really starting to add, right? You can think of we're adding functionality on the outside. We're really maybe not trying to reorganize the underlying structure of Odoo. So I think that's the most exciting for us as Traction, only from the standpoint that we do have a lot of upgrades coming and we want them to go smoothly and those types of things. So that's a big benefit to our customers. They can spend more dollars on productivity enhancements and less dollars on upgrade fees if you're kind of going through it, right? So that's the difference maybe between, say, the Odoo.com stack, where you're not really making customizations, versus what we're doing, because we're on the Odoo SH platform. Right. There's just a lot more involved with going from version to version.
Right. And do you have advice for partners, maybe newer partners, someone who's interested in doing this type of work?
Yeah, I'd say, again, just dive in, right? I think that, the best thing you can do, as being a partner, certainly first and foremost, obviously being an advocate for the software, right? So why did we choose Odoo? I'm a technologist at heart. I mean, I not only can sell these products, but I have written these products. And so, yeah, by far, we brought Odoo into our stack with the idea that it is one of the most intuitive and easy to learn ERPs out there. At the same time, then I look at functionality. Well, can it match function for function on the big players? Absolutely. So if it's easier to use, it's more simplified to train, it's faster to use, and it's the same functionality as another product, why wouldn't we be an advocate for it and so on? So I think it's really just that, is just understand the products you're selling first and foremost, to make sure that you're not selling a widget. You know, you're selling a piece of software that literally runs a business end to end. And that's a lot more of a convince, you know, than just trying to sell SharePoint, just trying to sell email, just trying to, like, it's just different.
Oh, yeah.
So certainly skill set's a little bit different. You do need to engage in it. You do need to understand the product, because you want to be able to answer, you know, exactly what this product does, and you want to always have an answer for what the product does. You know, and again, work with your partner rep closely, and, you know, make sure that that's a good working relationship.
Well, thank you so much for talking with us
thanks
today,
for having me.
and enjoy the rest of your day.
Will do. Thanks.
Thank you. Hello.
I cannot see her.
No.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.